Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Rochard? Rochard is a puzzle platformer with a physics element to it, which means I'll probably be awful at it. That's a combination of the two of the three things that I'm bad at. Puzzles, platforming. If they put some point-and-click adventuring in there, then it would be the triumvirate of terrible. For me, at any rate. So this came out about a month ago on the PS3, and now has a PC version. It's actually in the Unity engine, which is an engine that is most commonly used on, well, one, mobile devices, and two, for browser-based stuff. But this is a full-on game using this engine, and from what I've seen of it, it does look quite impressive. Now, I have gone through the tutorial on the starting bit, because I was told it's got a really slow start, and it does. The first 30 minutes is tutorials and nothing in particularly interesting, so I'm just skip that entirely, and then we can go on from there. And since I haven't really played a lot of the game, I haven't really got much of an impression of it yet, since nothing's really happened. What I can tell you is that it doesn't really have any graphics options, so you can't really customize anything. I don't know if the Unity engine is just really efficient, runs well and everything. I mean, it is a 2D game, but it is quite a nice looker, so I don't really know. And you've got your text right there. You've also got your control options. These are not rebindable, which is a bit of a kick. And then you also have your 360 pad there. Bit of a pain that they haven't allowed you to rebind keys. That's something that I would definitely like to see patched in. That's always good. Alright, let us go, shall we? So, one of the things about this game is that the main character, John Rochard, is a space miner who is somewhat overweight, as you can tell, and is voiced by John St. John, who is the voice actor that also brought you Duke Nukem. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Alright. So, what's this all about? Well, let me show you. So, the main mechanic in this game, well, there are really two main mechanics. One is the fact that you have the G-lifter here. That allows you to lift stuff up, as you can see, and you can also fire it. And it will react in the way that you might expect. However, what you can also do is this. Now, that actually doesn't so much turn gravity off, but it lowers gravity, and you can control it by holding down the shift key. If you want, you can also press caps lock, which will keep it on permanently, and it's basically just a direct control on the gravity systems of the asteroid mining station that you happen to be on. You also get scanning information whenever you point this thing at it, so it's mostly a case of trying to figure out how to get through certain segments. You see right there, there's a red force field. You can't get through there. Ow. There's a red force field. You can't actually get through that because it won't allow biomatter through. And the blue force fields don't allow solid, sort of inanimate objects through. Now, in this case, you've got to figure out, well, how am I going to get it past that? Well, fairly simple, really, I would think. Grab this, put it down there, and just make yourself a bridge. Physics system does seem to work fairly well. The G-lifter is actually quite interesting in the way that the objects sort of snap to the place that you would kind of want them to be in, which is kind of intriguing. I assume that's kind of designed with the console controller in mind, but it does work fairly well. It is a bit clunky in places because, as you can see there, it's a bit jerky to move around, but I think that the benefits do outweigh the issues with it. It does make moving objects significantly easier and less of a pain in the ass, which can be an issue for some physics-based games. Alright, let's head down here and see if there's anything under there. There is combat in this game, by the way. It's not all just puzzles. Admittedly, the combat generally involves throwing stuff at people, which is not terrible. It's like playing with a gravity gun from Half-Life, only spending a lot of the game doing that. As you'll see, I'm going to pass straight through this, which is a bit of a pain. I'm going to figure out what exactly I want to do from here. Well, I would imagine that if we were to be able to get a hold of one of those boxes, we'd be in business. We can also have a look at that and maybe get on top and create a bridge once again using those blue boxes. What I'd like to point out as well is that a lot of the music in this game is really good. I mean, the stuff that you're hearing at the minute is slightly generic, certainly, but it's definitely not bad. The stuff that's really, really good is the sort of blues-inspired stuff and the southern rock, and actually some of the epic orchestral stuff as well. This does have a very nice soundtrack going along with it. It's good that they've put some effort into that. It's actually something that... oh, bollocks. It's actually something that I'm seeing a lot of indie devs do lately. They're putting quite a bit of money into soundtracks, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it's actually another way for indie devs to, bloody hell, to monetize. They can, if they get a soundtrack, then they can set up an arrangement with Steam in order to sell a soundtrack edition or sell the soundtrack separately, and then maybe, you know, give the artist royalties for it or split the revenue or whatever. That's not a terrible idea. You know, that's a good idea for generating a little bit of extra revenue. As we've seen with games like Bastion, for instance, the soundtrack can actually be a huge deal. Also, Terraria is a good example. That had a really nice soundtrack, and as a result, they were able to release that via Bandcamp for $5 and actually get sales that way. So, yeah, it's nice that they're investing some more in actually getting proper composers, because that's not something the indie devs have really done an awful lot of lately. It is quite easy to slip off that. This is fairly hopeless. I'm hoping I can get to a point where we actually see some combat and things like that. The only things I've fought so far are a couple of space mobsters and a few broken robots that are trying to electrocute me every now and again. Yeah, well. Oh, Jesus. Also, there's just something to note. It's not really a big deal, but I'm noticing a very small frame drop on some of the physics stuff. I have to wonder if that's a limitation of the Unity engine, or maybe it's just because this is kind of unpatched. This game came out a couple of days ago. I don't think it's received an update yet, as far as I know. There we go. Let's go a couple of them. Hopefully not screw it up this time. You could also go for sort of a longer distance bridge here by just slowing down and lowering gravity, but I'm not going to do that right now. That just seems like too big a risk. There we go. Those wondering about keyboard and mouse controls, as far as I can tell, they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them, really. The only thing I would like is the ability to actually change them, which you cannot do for whatever reason. There's also these gold collectibles. I'm really not 100% sure why they're there or what their purpose is, but hey, they're gold collectibles, and as such, I'm going to grab them. There we go. Alright. Okay, there we go. There's one of those space mobsters I was telling you about there. Character design in this game is actually one of its strengths, I've got to say. The enemies and even the character itself is quite unique. It's something that you don't usually see in a game like this. Indie games do sometimes have some very interesting characters. It does help that this one is voiced by frickin' Duke Nukem. That is certainly something that I would view as an asset to the game. John St. John doesn't phone in his performance here either. He actually does a really good job. He's also, if I recall correctly, playing Axe. Yes, he is. He's playing Axe in Dota 2, which is pretty awesome. You see the physics in action there. They work pretty well. Thus far, aside from the minor issues that I've mentioned, I haven't found anything so far that I dislike about the game, other than it obviously being a physics-based platformer. Animation quality, graphical quality, sound. Some of the voice acting's a bit hit and miss. Ooh, I can melee people. Alright, I did not know that. I actually just want to throw boxes at them. But I'm going to melee him anyway. There we go. Let's give him a bit of a poke. Interesting ragdoll stuff going on there. One of the other characters isn't so great. The voice acting's okay, except for the female lead, who does sound a bit terrible sometimes. John St. John does an awesome job, as you'd expect him to, and also there's a couple of other characters that are cool too, but yeah, the voice cast is not perfect. Then again, it is an indie title. We don't necessarily expect that, but we should mention it regardless. And depending on how important you find that, you can make a judgment. Alright, so quick jump up there, then jump up here. Also, kind of neat, I believe, if you reduce the gravity, it also affects the enemies, which is fairly awesome. It's what you'd expect, of course, but still. This is like playing Ravenholm, the game. Gravity gun all the time, and this does get some upgrades and things. Ooh, explosive containers. How wonderful is that? Yup. Okay, that was a little bit risky, but it's okay. John Rochard is a tough individual. He has no issues with your explosive barrels. There are various explosive devices that you can get throughout this game as well, as you saw in the keys menu, sort of grenades and stuff like that. I think there is also a way to modify the G-Lifter later on to shoot, because I've seen that in the trailers, but you don't get that initially. I don't know, that might be actually kind of disappointing. I hope that they don't do too much of that. That's something I wouldn't necessarily like to see too much of, because the idea that you have to do everything via a lifting device is kind of neat. to manipulate gravity and stuff. You know, that forces some fairly inventive solutions to problems. It's funny, there's another Finnish developer called Frozen Byte. You may be aware of them. If you're not, then you're not paying any attention. They created Trine, and Trine 2 is coming out shortly, which I will have exclusive footage to show you when I get the time to do so. They also made a physics-based platformer called Trine. Oh, hey.
You all right? What happened?
Oh, blimey. That was a close call. There was an explosion and the roof fell on the drill rig. I'm okay, but Xander is hurt. He is pinned in the cockpit. I can't get him out.
What's your position?
I'm not sure. Somewhere in the shaft 6. I'm trying to access the levels to get on.
Skylar! Damn it, nothing works in this place.
Yes, that's kind of the theme of the whole game, by the way. It's kind of Red Dwarfish in the way that you're sort of stuck on a mining asteroid where nothing works and everything's going horribly wrong. But, yeah, anyway, as I was saying, there's the example. Skylar is the person whose voice acting I'm not especially impressed with. It's a weird forced British accent that doesn't quite sound right, but, you know, it's a minor point. And I imagine it's also coming down to personal preference there as well. Okay, so going here is absolutely useless then. Let's get back up there. I'm liking the 2.5D effect that's going on. There's actually quite a lot of depth to it. Very much reminds me of, well, 1, Trine, and 2, not Shadowgrounds, Shadow Complex. Yeah, of course. That's the one. That's a game I definitely wish was on PC. Sadly, it is not. Was it Chair who did that? Yeah, it was Chair. I'm fairly sure it was Chair. Now, these guys are annoying. You have to basically crush them or hit them hard enough to... Oh, crap. No. No. Oh, damn it. Wait a second. What the hell was the point in that lift? I could have just... I'm not even going to ask. Not even going to ask. We'll play a little bit more with this, and we'll see if there's anything more to it. The game doesn't really enthuse me all that much, but it's mostly because I'm not a fan of these kind of games. I can see that it's well done, and objectively, there's very few things wrong with it, and it's obviously a very impressive title. It's just, I'm not into it, and that's kind of the problem with WTF Is, isn't it? It's like, oh, this game is really good, but I just personally don't like it. Why? Because I'm not into those kind of games. Whoops. Slightly missed that one. Let's try that one again, shall we? I think I was more into Trine because there was definitely... I don't know. Actually, I don't know why I was more into Trine. Maybe it's just because of the variety of the characters and the different solutions to the problems. There aren't as many cool solutions to problems in this game, as far as I can see. But, ooh, handy. I suppose you could get over the way that I just tried to do there, but... Oh, God. Let's smack him in the face. I have nothing to shoot him with. These guys are supposedly bulky, not particularly strong, I have to say. Just tap them in the face and they end up dying instantly. I assume there are tougher enemies going on. But yeah, oh, not you again.
I need you, Skylar.
Xander is hurting bad. We could really use your help.
I can't get to you. I'm outnumbered and outgunned. We're under attack by the Wild Boys.
Wild boys? What are they doing this far out from the rim? And why are they attacking a sky-rig mine? There's plenty of easier targets.
They know we're protected by the Sky Police. Something doesn't add up here.
Where are you now?
Shaft 2, but I can't get through. The Wild Boys are using door jammers.
There's a maintenance terminal nearby. Install a rock blaster in the G-lifter. That'll do the job.
All right, rock blaster. Got it.
John, get us out of here.
There you go.
I promise. Just hang in there. Over and out.
All right. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, I'd say that there are more solutions to problems in Trine than there are in Rochard, just simply because you've got 3 different characters and things like that. But it's not that I don't like the game, it's just that I prefer other kinds of games. I think that what they've put together here is extremely impressive, especially in terms of the use of the Unity engine. They claim it's the most advanced use of the Unity engine to date. I don't think I'd disagree with them, actually, on that one. It does seem to work really, really well. Did I just do the wrong thing there? I'm not 100% sure. I can't get it past there because there's a object blocker in the way. Maybe it's possible to fire it through there. Is there any relevance to putting it through there? That's a good question. I'm not actually sure what that's connected to. I'm trying to follow the line across, and then it just disappears behind the scenery and doesn't tell me. Oh, okay, I see. That creates that. Hum-de-hum. So I suppose the question therein lies, how the balls do you get up there? But anyway, it doesn't really matter. The conclusion could be come to on this. I think you've seen it from this video if it's your kind of game. From a technical perspective, there's very little wrong with it, aside from lack of options and key bindings. It works perfectly well on PC, and it's not particularly expensive either. It's currently available on Steam. I probably won't be playing any more of it just because it's not my kind of thing, but don't let that dissuade you if this is the sort of thing that you enjoy, because it's got a lot of character to it. It's very well put together. The puzzles do seem very interesting, and I like the protagonist. I really do. I like the fact that he's just an everyman. That's fairly unusual, and he actually has some really interesting characteristics to him. I'm not sure about the rest of the cast so far, but John Rochard is a bit of a winner. Okay, folks, that's a look at Rochard by Recoil Games, available currently on Steam. My name's been TotalBiscuit, and I will see you next time.